Yay. And now, Lou, take it away. I'm going to mute myself.
Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? What's good out there in the cyber world? How is everybody? Oh my goodness, like, listen, I was super, super duper nervous, y'all, because I have not been sharing myself in such a way at all like this. It's been a minute. And I'm gonna share with you guys a little bit about that. But first of all, I'm just gonna start by sharing, for those that don't know me, I am Lavinia Marie Wilkerson, also known as Lou Hollis, also known as the Bougie Pioneer Woman. I have these different aliases, and I am a creative artist. And I've been navigating this world, managing myself and my children for over 25 years, and as models, actors, talent. I have 3 children. I've been managing our career, and I've been doing that. Gosh, so much about me. I've just been really creatively carving out a niche for us in this world, and it has looked different as time has moved on. But that's the nuts and bolts of who I kind of am. I'm a mommy of 3 beautiful, beautiful souls that I have the privilege and honor to have come through me. And they range in age from 20, gosh, how old is my oldest? I have a 20, is he 23? Oh gosh, I forget, let me think. I think he's 23, that's not horrible, but that's real. And then I have a 14-year-old. And I want to just start by asking you guys first, for those who feel compelled to share, like, what did you come here for? Just tell me. A few people, just tell me, why y'all up in here? Why y'all come here? What y'all had heard? What y'all know? What y'all want? What you want? Just tell me what, some nuggets. What did you come here for? Anybody who feels compelled to share that. Why you come here? What you here for?
I'll start, because I specifically signed up for this session because I love your energy and it makes me feel good to be in your presence. So I don't even know what the title of the session was. Okay. Cause it didn't matter. I saw your name and I was like, I'm gonna be there. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Danisha, and I have 3 grown children, but now I'm embarking on being a grandmother. Well, I have 4 grandchildren, and the entrepreneurship piece really drew me in, and I wanted to get as many gems and nuggets as I could to be able to share with my grown children as, you know, the pandemic continues, and really looking at what unschooling means for Black children, and how to help them navigate that course, but really being the starting point for them to navigate that course.
I love that. Thank you. Did I say your name right, Danica?
It's Danisha.
Danisha, sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Monica. I joined a little bit about Damari. I was like, oh, I remember her energy. I really think it's going to be good. And also, I had started a photography business right before the pandemic and had to shut it down because of health reasons. So I'm trying to figure out a new way. And we've embarked on this new lifestyle. And I've heard entrepreneurs in the SDE space just kind of approach business differently, words like unbusiness, or, you know, like how, if we're living and educating and learning differently, also how are we being in the world differently? So I was just curious to learn your take on that twist.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you, Monica. Anna? Anna, where you go? No, you weren't going to share. Was somebody else going to share why they came here? Okay, Damari, if you can help me, because I have to focus on just talking. It's so hard for me to focus on chat. So just help me out, or anybody who, yes, please just help me out, and just, I'll take a pause and maybe we can just like fill me in on what the chat even says, because it's hard for me to focus.
Gotcha.
So thank you all for so much for sharing that. If anybody else wants to share before I start talking a bit, you can, just why you came. Yes, Alicia.
I'll just say what I put in the chat. I'm getting ready to open a center and I'm bad at capitalism. So I just need help with like the money part.
Okay. All right, Alicia. Making the money, the money part. Okay, yeah. I'm not that. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to some of that. But I just really wanted to fill out kind of how I would, I'm going to show up as myself, but I wanted to just hear from you guys and just see how, because like I said, I was super nervous, and why, I don't know, just because of the way my nervous system is set up these days. I'm really, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of backstory about me, and I'm going to tell you some stories about myself so that you can just see if you see yourself, and just see if you're inspired and something starts to click inside of you, so that you start generating ideas of how things work for me, because that's how things work for me. I like to hear, and then I like to see, and then I like to give like some examples so that things can make more sense. That's how I process things. So I'm going to do something like that, and then we can talk more. And I heard you guys say, some of you guys say, like you have some ideas of things that you're working on. And at the end, maybe we can even talk through some of that kind of stuff, just to give ideas at the end, we have time. But so.
Hi, is it okay? I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I'm going to join on video in just a second, but I have a toddler, and we had kind of a long night.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting up and trying to get it together here. But I just wanted to say the betting on yourself part for me was, I mean, definitely I also would love to hear about the entrepreneurship, but when I read your bio and that part about just like, I think that challenge as a mother, to be able to really believe in yourself and go for it and believe in your children and everything that I think that's the part that, honestly for me, I'm really seeking to find inspiration around because it's been very challenging. And I have 2 young girls, and just really wanting to that's what struck me when I saw your intro. So thank you. I'll keep it at that.
Yeah. Thank you. It's Lily or Lilia?
Lilia, yes.
Lilia, thank you for sharing that, Lilia. I felt all of, that. I felt all of that. That was beautiful. Dominique, hey, Dominique, were you going to share something? Hey,
no, I'm just walking
Dominique.
in. Happy New Year. I love that I just walk in and then it's like,
hey.
I'll share later though. Good to see you.
Okay. All right. Good to see you too. Yeah. Thank you, Lilia. That was beautiful. Everybody's sharing. Thank you for sharing why you came here. Like I said, I just want to show up and share in a way how I do, but I just wanted to hear from y'all so I can see if it resonated in my spirit. I need to show up exactly how I be showing up, and I am. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do that. So it seems like that's what y'all came for. So I'm gonna just do what I do and be myself. And be myself and share. I'm gonna give you a little backstory about me and how I got here, how I'm here today, and kind of what that journey has looked like. And like I said, hopefully you get some ideas so that you'll be inspired, so you can, start dreaming and having some hope and be like, I got this, I can do this. It's a lot of that. That's what my life looked like. I'd be like, you can do this. You got this, Lou. You got this. You got this. You got this. I have to talk to myself all the time. It's so much just loving on me, like You know how Beyonce be like, got to be your own best friend. I am my own best friend. I am my own best cheerleader. I am just constantly loving on me, giving myself grace. And when I give myself grace, I'm able to, you know, have more compassion for those around me and give some grace in those places and spaces. But being really, really honest with myself, you know, owning all of that stuff. But like I have been just creatively navigating life, living life on my terms for a long time. And being in these communities have given me language like, oh, this is a thing. Oh, this is called unschooling. Is that what this is? Oh my God, I've been unschooling all my life. Wow. And it has been so lonely, y'all, because it's just, you know, when you begin to bet on yourself, everybody doesn't see your vision, and it's really hard, and you have to be super selective about who you share your vision with, because for me, in my experience, I share something, and then when they don't have the same energy, it can kind of deflate me. And then I'm like, dang, why did I even say anything? You know, and then I have to go gas myself up again somewhere or somehow, but it's a process. And so with that being said, it's like, it's been really, really super lonely, but you have to, first things first is you have to believe in yourself, and how you believe in yourself for me personally is really finding something. I feel like I'm connected to something bigger than me, you know, and everybody's different. Everybody has to do what works for them. But for me, I feel super empowered when I'm knowing that it's not really about me. I just get to play this part in this life, but it's not really about me. But I get to affect people where we go. There's this thing in the Bible, it talks about like you are the church, technically. So like our temple, this is truly the temple. And so if I am, then it's affecting people wherever I go, me and my person. And so with that being said, I'm just like making sure I take care of me first. And if I'm not taken care of first, then I'm no good for nobody. I'm not good for anybody around me if I'm not okay. And that means everything. And I've always been this holistic person where like, if my mind isn't right, then I don't really function very well with everything else. I just don't. Like, I can't concentrate on work. I remember trying to have jobs and I just would not be able to concentrate. I knew that very early on, that I needed to have everything together, that everything needed to be functioning and working so that I could operate at my best capacity. And so with that being said, I would have to, check in with myself. Well, where are you? And then being honest with where I am and really spending time and taking that time to be okay, whatever that looked like, from going to therapy to, finding support groups and finding community like this. When I was in Alex's Adam's room yesterday for Vela, and he the way he shared his story and how he grew up, and it reminded me like how I grew up. I moved so much. We moved so much. And I was going to different schools all the time. And we not only just moved from like in different cities, but we would move out of states, just from state to city to state to, no, my mother wasn't in the military. She was a gypsy. She wasn't really, but, she was living the gypsy life. But we were constantly moving. But it made me have to, put myself out there in a way where I would have to go make new friends. I would have to, if I wanted to enjoy life, if I wanted to experience some things, I would have to make new friends. And most of the time when you go places, people have pretty much been settled in a place, for a while. So anyway, this gave me this ability to put myself out there and share myself in different ways, and made me not afraid to travel and try new things. The moving, that's what I learned with moving. Things are always changing, and it made me understand that, you can adjust. But as I grew up and we moved a lot, I realized that I learned most of my things, that school had a really special place, but it was like, I was just good at being a student. I was really very, very good at being a student, but the learning happened a lot outside of school, and then in this journey of us moving a lot, And it made me want to travel as I got older. So that's one of the reasons why I really love traveling. And it's so hard to be still. It is so hard. So being confined to, somebody else's time and telling me, the hours, it never really worked for me. It never really worked because I always could think of 1,000,001 things that I could do with my time. And the things that led me were my passions. The things that I was passionate about, that's what led me to everything. So I model, but me modeling, that meant, I'm not a supermodel, so I'm not making money like crazy. I make some money, but the jobs are far few in between. But so what am I doing in between that? I'm like, okay, so what do I love doing? I figure out what means something to me. What means something? What has value to me? I enjoy working with children. Okay, so how can I make that work? What can I do with that? So, and then when I had children, I loved being a mom. I loved being a mom, and I made that my full-time job. And I figured out ways and things that would make sense for things that I enjoy. I like fashion. So what did I do? I didn't have any money, but what did I do? I started a children's resale boutique. I collected all my families. I was like, listen, y'all, I'm about to start a children's resale because I would spend a little bit of money on clothes for my children. And so I'm like, I don't want to just give these away, and I'll take them to the resale place, and they'd be like, want to only give me a quarter for something I paid, $50, $11 for it. I'm like, no, I can do this. I'm about to open my own. I'm about to do this too. I can do this. And that's just what I did. I just did it. Don't ask me how. I supported myself. I said, okay, I'm going to call people up, ask all my friends and family, whatever clothes y'all don't want, give them to me. Don't give them to the Salvation Army, give them to me, or, whatever. And that's what people did. I went around, I collected their stuff, and I just kept the top-notch things. And I started at flea markets. I would go to flea markets. And then I started sharing space with someone else. But listen, I ain't had no money, literally. I can remember some years I made $7,000 a year, y'all. And I started back in 90, okay. I've been doing this 25 years. Y'all do the math. Math is not my thing. I do like it, but 25 years ago, I started, and some years I made $7,000. And listen, my children and I, we never wanted for a thing, you heard? Not a thing. Not a thing, but just my drive and the passion and the different things to just be in control of my time. That's the things that motivated me. It was just like each step of doing something always led to something else. My son was in this charter school. I like working with children. I do drama. I act. I've been modeling. Oh, I'll just design a curriculum. I'll tell her I teach. And I got a job teaching at a school to teach drama. I just believe in myself. I believe in me and my talents, my skills, my knowledge. And I just go forward with whatever things that come up in my heart and in my spirit that I'm connected to, that have value for me. And I make it make sense. I make something happen. I was a beauty consultant it was like a Mary Kay, but it wasn't Mary Kay. It was Beauty Control, and I was a consultant. But basically, I was going around doing spas, and I did that. Just recently, just up until 2019, I was driving Uber until the pandemic. Because listen, I wasn't well. I was not well. I didn't feel good, and I didn't really want to model. The passion had left for me because I'm a widow. I lost my husband about 8 years ago. And I'm just coming back. Hey, y'all, I'm just coming back. I'm literally just coming back. I'm just, again, sharing myself. I've been doing other things, but, it wasn't this. It wasn't sharing myself into this capacity, like I once did. I've always been able to do this, but for 8 years, this is not where I've been. I have been somewhere else. I've been really deep inside of myself trying to figure things out, figuring out what's going on. Because one of the things, and that's how I discovered unschooling, because I was no longer showing up as myself. I was no longer showing up in all the spaces and places as myself and doing all the things. And then I discovered Fair the Free Child podcast, and Akila became my best friend. hearing her voice and her sharing all this knowledge and this information and what I was experiencing, so many different things that she was talking about. I was experiencing those things. I was like, what is happening with me? From the, just my children were learning, and I didn't put the people insisted that I would put my children back in school while I was grieving and going through my thing. But I didn't do that. What I did was I kept them home with me, not put them back in school because my son went to kindergarten. He did go, but they said put them in school. And my oldest son, he graduated from high school. He went to school, but the younger two, they've been homeschooled pretty much all their lives. And I discovered unschooling because I wasn't showing up, doing all the things. And, but my children were still learning. And I was like, wow, that's what's happening to me. I see the children still learning, even though I'm not doing the things. And then that's how we found self-directed education. But there's levels to directed education. And I'm here to tell you, I don't really want to be the bearer of bad news, but don't tell nobody I told y'all this. Do not tell nobody I told y'all this. It's really a journey for yourself, you know? So if you, it's really something for you to check in on yourself and be like, are you being accountable, and not using, as, you know, as Akila says, your power over your children? Are you being in community with them? Are you, loving on them the right way, or the way that they need to be loved on? Because that was one of the things that supported me and helped me to believe in myself. I was really super supported by my mom. I just felt her love and her acceptance, and that sense of belonging and feeling love empowered me to just really have this hope and just believe just the craziest things that I could do. I could just, and before I experienced this grief, it was like I felt like I was a superhero. I know, y'all, I felt like I was a superhero. I did. And because it's like once I put my mind to something, I could just go do it. So now, today, what that look like is me relearning to bet on myself. It's going super duper slow. I can't do everything anymore. I just can't. And so at this point, I go really slow and very much intentional, allowing for all the space, for all the things to show up for me as I process life and as I process things. And the beautiful thing about slowing down is that so many beautiful things show up. I really get to check in with myself. I really get to be honest with myself. I get to stay in this place of real support and this conscious parenting, as Damari says, this for sure conscious thinking and living space where I can really be accountable to myself and support myself with these ideas and goals that I have. And all I do is just keep taking one little step each day and all the time, just one little step each day, each time. And the cool thing about this is that I'm not in competition with anybody. It's no race. So I'm like, and social media like Instagram and things like that can throw you off a bit because you're like, hey, they doing this, they doing that. I gotta get. But really, it's just like, no, you are right on time, little girl. You are right on time. You are right where you're supposed to be. You are doing your thing because what you got is what you have. And nobody has what you have. Just like nobody has what each of you all have. I have what I have, and I'm right on time for my mission, for my lane. I'm just trying to be in alignment with my purpose and walk this thing out. I'm trying to support my children so that they can, because I feel like children are the closest to when they can really know and tap into why they even came here to earth. Why are you here? I'd be like, why y'all here? What you come here for? Do you remember? You remember your purpose? Do you know? They be looking at me like, gosh, mommy, really? No, I don't know. That was just you. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew, not me. I don't know. So they're still trying to figure it out. But I'm always like, do you remember? Do you know your purpose? Do you know why you came here? I always feel like we all came here for a purpose. And I'm just trying to really stay aligned to why I came here. And And you guys all, a couple of y'all tagged on it because y'all like my energy, y'all like what happened. But it really ain't even me, y'all. It ain't even me. Okay, some of it is, but it's not. It's not. But I really love, I love encouraging folks and helping people to believe and tap into all of the possibilities, because there are so many. You just got to take courage and believe in yourself. But in order to do that, some of the things I do, I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna take a breath, take a sip of my tea. Damari, you can share some of the stuff, or anybody can share anything that's showing up for them. And then I'll check back in and we'll talk some more, but y'all can talk to me and tell me what y'all feeling and what's showing up. And
Girl, the chat is lit. You hear me? You talking to the people. So if anyone has comments in the chat that you would like to share out, you can this is a space where you can just unmute yourself and share into the space. You don't have to raise your hand or wait for me to say, come on in.
I will say the statement that you made about comparison and being right where you're supposed to be really resonated with me. So this year, I kind of embarked on this. I got connected with Shauna Murray Brown at the end of last year. I saw her in an interview, and I felt like she was in my head about mental health. Had my own struggles for over 25 years, and the decolonization of my mind, and specifically about Black people and how the mental health field, like many other spaces in this world, just haven't shown up for us. And so I decided that I wanted to start a business around, one, getting Black people to talk about mental health, because we don't do that. And then two, helping people with resources and decolonizing our minds, but most importantly, remembering and reclaiming the joy of being Black. And I started, following all these people who are talking about mental health. And then I started to feel really overwhelmed. Like, I'm not doing everything that they're doing. I'm not posting every day. I'm not sharing out every day. And then it started to depress me. And I felt like I was going in this downward spiral. And then I just got stuck. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. I know what I want to do, but I'm just really stuck. And so just hearing, you see that all the time, don't compare yourself and things like that, but hearing you say it and being able to relate in the sense that you're a Black woman, you're doing your thing, just really brought it back home for me that I'm not in a race with anybody else. The message that I have, nobody else is putting out there. Nobody else has my experience or has the information that I have. And so I have to trust that, and I have to walk in that purpose. So thank you for that.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel that. It's so true. It happens to me too. You can get overwhelmed when you just keep scrolling and scrolling and you see everything that everybody else is doing. You're just like, you have to refocus and say, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But like I said, I talk to I have to have these conferences with myself daily conferences, and sending memos constantly, constant memo reminders to myself, like, Lou, you are right on time. And you said it too, the whole idea of, us, the experience, this Black experience, this BIPOC experience, this being African-American here, I have 2 boys, and when I found Fear of the Free Child, it was just like a fresh breath of fresh air, because I was so affected, not only by the grief of the loss of my husband, but the fact that I had 2 boys and one was already out adulting on his own, and men were like boys and men were getting shot. That affects you. And yes, all of that, mental health. And you got to show up You got to go to work. You got to show up. And even if you're an entrepreneur, you still have to go to work, but I get to do this at my pace though. And then guess what be showing up when I do it at my pace, and when I do it, as I'm in alignment, gems drop into my spirit, and ideas drop into my spirit of what to do, because I'm giving myself the space and just really showing up for myself in these deep ways. And that requires lots of courage to just do it. You don't got to ask permission, do it. You know how you as a kid, when I get grown, I'm about to do this. When I get grown, I am not going to be doing like my mama and them. I'm going to be doing this. When I get grown, I'm about to be, yes. Well, we grown now, what we doing? We is grown, what we doing? We getting free? We claiming our time. I'm reclaiming mine, because I am totally affected. There's no lie. I am affected. I'm affected. Yes, I'm affected. And I love, like you said, Shauna Murray Brown and Fair of the Free Child, and all these different platforms now of communities that you can be a part of to help you. If you want to be, I want to be proactive. So what do I need to do to make sure I'm good? Okay, I'm ready to get back out here. That's what I had to say. I'm ready to get back out here. What do I got to do to make sure I'm good? So I had to start showing up for myself. And that looks like, yeah, I'm going to take this long 3-hour walk. It don't look like I'm working, but I'm working. Because listen, as an entrepreneur, everybody to this day, my mama's still telling me what job is hiring to this day. To this day. She loved me, she supported me, but she still be telling me, oh, such and such is high. Why do you keep telling me this information, Mom? Why? Why?
That is so true.
Why?
So true. And I know I am a horrible employee. Like I know that about myself. I don't want to take direction from anybody in that sense, where you telling me what time it is for my break, what time it is to go to lunch.
It's bad.
No, I don't want to do that.
Bad.
Like you said, if I want to take a 3-hour walk, and regardless of what it looks like to you, I'm working on me, in me.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody else in control of that.
Yes, it's very valuable. Very, very, very valuable. I'm gonna tell you a real quick story that's off topic, but it's on topic. But this is how bad I am as far as job. Listen, I had just, I was a flight attendant. Oh, I was a flight attendant before too, y'all. I was a flight attendant. I was traveling, doing all kinds of stuff. But yes, I was a flight attendant. And, but I had my oldest, and then I had my second son, Azariah. And then I think I got pregnant again. I don't know. Point being is I needed to quit my job because I was flying, and I just needed to care for the children, because my husband really wasn't, it was just too tough for him. He was having a hard time. And so I was trying to be responsible, and I went, and my friend, she was like, oh, this mortgage company is hiring. And the woman, I'm so good, I can get a job. I'll make you hire me. So the woman hired me. And then she told me, she's like, it's between you and this other woman. And I was like, okay, but she hired me. And then listen, y'all, I lasted 2 weeks. And then I was like, oh, Jesus, I would be in the bathroom for long periods of time. Okay. And the office was super small. So it was just like, just like a small space. And it was like 3 or 4 of us in here, four people in this office area. And listen, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to work. So after the first week, I was like, this is not going to work. And so I was working with the courage after just, going into the second week. I'm like, this is not going to work. I need to tell her, I need to tell her, she need to get that lady that the other person was that it was between, because this is not going to work for me. I had to muster up the courage to tell her, because it was just not going to work. I was in the bathroom for hours, not hours, but for long periods of time. Y'all, it wasn't right. It was not right. Moral of the story is 9 to 5s are very challenging for me to commit my time to for other people. Did anybody else have anything that resonated, or anything that showed up for them that they wanted to share? Some of the things that I did, when I said that I was like making little to no money, some of the things that I tapped into though, and I utilized at the time was resources like human services. So I was on that for a period of time. I was, got the food stamps for a while. And when I needed to, I ended up getting money from the government at times when I needed to. Those were very short periods of time because I was so prideful. But the point is that my situation, I needed it. I needed the assistance. And so I took it. And then I've gone to food banks. Yeah, I've shared space. These are things that you can do, like thinking outside the box. If you're trying to better yourself, whether it be trying to homeschool, unschool, trying to make this thing happen. And you're like, what can I do? Those are things that I did. It wasn't, when I need to, I'll look up all kinds of resources. There's all kinds of resources. And even in like our deschooling, in our group, we created resources, a resource fund. So even just creating groups and resources for your community and building community, and being a part of community has been number one for this journey of homeschooling, unschooling, self-directed education, and for entrepreneurship. Having community is so important. Having people that you can talk to in spaces that you feel safe. I realize that that's something that I really need as I embark on the different territories. I need a support group, and even if that support group, everybody has to make it fit and make it make sense the way it makes sense for them, because we're all so different and we all need different things. But those are the things that I help cultivate and make sure my soil is good. A soil around me, like who do I have in my environment? What is that? Because who you have in your environment is going to, affect how you show up for yourself and for your children, as you're on the journey, whether you're betting on yourself as, and trying this whole unschooling thing, or whether you're betting on yourself for entrepreneurship. The whole idea is that you have to make sure, in my experience, I've had to make sure that my soil is good. People that don't always, not necessarily think like me, but just aren't supportive in a way that I need. That means they don't get to have full access to me all the time. Like I have a relative that I love, but we on so different pages, but we are here in this place together. So I don't want to make her feel isolated. So I make sure I include her in my life, but it's on my terms. I get to set boundaries. Boundaries, yes, that's a new word. Language, boundaries. I be setting them. Yep, I be doing that right there. Learned how to do that. So those are important. I learned how to do that. Because it's really important, because that can take you all off your game if you don't, it'll take you all off your game. You trying to love on people, because I'm a love bug. I love loving on people, and I love helping people. And that's the issue, is if you don't set boundaries, you'll be like sucked dry, or you'll just be off on some other tangent when you're supposed to be over here in this lane doing this right here, because you didn't set a boundary. And that's also with my children. I've been setting boundaries with them too. You know what I'm saying? Like my daughter, maybe I shouldn't say daughter. One of my children, is it too late? Anyway, one of them, they're doing activities, but I'm committed to not running here and there and everywhere, so I have to set some boundaries and say, okay, what's going to work for me? What am I going to really be able to do? What's going to really work for me? And I think that is really healthy. That's been really healthy and really good for me. So setting boundaries, because you when you love your children so much, like I just love them, you just always want to please them and make them happy. You want to love up on them. And especially, I just want to, I just love them so much. And you just want to do so much for them. But then I also want to leave space for them to figure out who they are and be accountable for certain things, and let them know that I'm a human being still, and I need time for myself. And that doesn't include running here, there, and there, and there, and there. That's not the life I was called to lead at this stage in life.
Yeah.
I wonder how it was, that just something that was, it sounds like it took you time to establish that. So how long did that take to
to create the boundaries for what, everybody or for children?
For children, really everyone, but
but just
specifically
children,
for your children.
Well, just knowing that it's a process, but like I said, just every day, just consciously checking in with yourself. Like, Lou, is this okay? Do you feel okay doing this? Okay, will they be okay if you don't? And as much as it breaks my heart that they're disappointed or sad, I gotta, bet on me. Cause if I ain't okay, I'll be like, I told you. I'm gonna be pulling back on old behaviors that I don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, yelling, doing stuff, because I'm not giving to myself. I'm not filling my own cup up first. And I need to fill my cup up first before I can even be any good for anything or anybody around me. So if Lou ain't right, it ain't right. Does that make sense, Lillian?
Yes, thank you. I think there are some other questions in the chat too. So
yeah,
but thank you very much.
Are you ready, Lou? We got some good questions.
Yes.
The first one, and if I missed some, y'all, please know, was from Monica, and she wanted to know, how is it building community and traveling or moving? Because that's something that has been a challenge for her.
Who said that? Who was that?
Monica.
Okay. Yeah. Building community, traveling. So just nowadays, like, we have such a plus because we have the internet, you know what I mean? Like, and before there was the internet, when I was young, I used to write people. Yes, I was that girl that be writing you, you know what I'm saying? Because I moved and I left. I'd be like, what's your address? I had to make friends. So I would write friends and we would stay in touch like that, and reach out and call. But nowadays it's more so like just like, so like, for example, like Damari said, we met each other through being in community, and Vanessa and Dominique, like, and lots of people on here, we all met through this. So just from following people through the community, on your social medias, and just commenting on people's stuff and building that way. And then we actually get to connect in person when we make the effort to make it happen. You know what I mean? Damari and Vanessa were here and in the area, and they were like maybe about 45 minutes to an hour away, and they were telling me that they were coming to town. I was like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm gonna be where, yes. So, we had the opportunity. So yeah, just making that happen when you can make it happen. But I found community just online, just from people who are connecting with the same kind of ideas that I'm connecting with, like through homeschooling, unschooling. So through these communities, Monica, like, get through MRM, deschooling, it's a thing. This make sure, I think they're trying to work on a directory for the Alliance for these events that we come to, like this. Was that helpful, Monica?
Yeah, I think for me, because you were mentioning what sounds like kind of like mutual aid, like how do I help each other? And I feel like that's harder with my online, I am part of MRM and I feel super connected there, but they can't take my kid when I need to run to the doctor.
Oh, yes,
right? Like,
yes.
how,
okay.
I was also a kid that moved a lot. And
so Monica, I put myself out there. Honestly, wherever I go, like, so if I have my child they used to be a part of like little different, we were part of different homeschooling groups or different things. I was that person that made conversation. I'm gonna come up to you if I needed to. Not so much anymore. I'm not always like that because, just the way life's set up, I'm not always like that as much these days. But because there was a need, if there was a need and I needed that, if I needed community, I would do it by being the person to start the conversation. And if it wasn't that person, then it was, the next person or the next group of things that I went to. And from that, definitely building community that way. I did that often, Monica. I had to make friends and we would swap off with children, with assisting with children or meeting up and doing something. Even I have friends that are so dope, like single moms, just knowing you need money, like, because you're in conversation, we'll just say, here's some money, slip you $20. That $20 was magic when you needed some money, when you needed it. That's, the kind of communities I was a part of, but definitely just putting myself out there, Monica, from the different groups and meetups that would happen. And if I did not have the community, there's ways to do it online. Like I'm looking into doing something now that I'm here in Norfolk, but people are saying you get on Facebook and you start a group, and you become a part of some groups, and then you see what people are in your area, and then you try to start connecting. That's what I'll do, that's what I'll do in that way, and then try to see about building my own from there if I feel led to do that. But if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna jump in on Facebook, because that's where I know that you do. So become a part of some groups, start commenting, start seeing who's in this area, start seeing who wants to meet up, and seeing what I can build from there. You're welcome.
We got another question from Jim. So Jim said, how do you navigate taking financial risks when you have kids? I don't have any myself, but I often worry about how it would affect my decision-making if I had others to be considering. It does impact your decision-making.
Yeah. Monica, I'm in Norfolk, Virginia, the Chesapeake land, the Chesapeake people. So how do you navigate the financial risks? So, listen, back in the day, when it comes to betting on myself, so when I say I didn't have money, like I just didn't have money. It wasn't even a factor of like, can you navigating the risks? I was poverty. I mean, and so like honestly, I know you're like, there's always risks, but I'm always willing to take the risk. I know this is not everybody's thinking, but it's just like, what is there to navigate? This is what we doing. I'm gonna invest in it. Like I did that podcast, y'all. Listen, I never did podcasts, but I invested in myself in that. And I didn't really even have it. I didn't have it. I was Ubering, paying the podcast so I could pay. Yeah, that had happened. And I was paying because I was just like, people are like, well, how do you make money? I was like, I'll make money not from that, but I just need to do this because this is part of my process of whatever I feel like needs to happen for me. This is for me, but everybody's so different. So how do you navigate the risk? I don't know. I just do it because it's what I need to do. So there's no choice. There is choice, but there really is no thinking or no choice. It's just like, I just bet on me. If it makes sense in my spirit, if it resonates and things line up. So I never really, like I said, I'm not the math person, and I know you need money, but I was never always focused on the money. I know that sounds crazy, but I know that sounds, bizarre, but it's true. I was never really focused on the money, and I know you need it. But I always wanted to do things that mattered to me. So I just did those things. And I know that that's probably not even very helpful. That may not be very helpful for you with the question you asked about how do I navigate those decisions. It's just, I just do it anyway. I do it anyway because it makes sense for me. And it may be a risk, but it's worth it to me. Oh, that's helpful? Okay, good.
So there are two other questions that are kind of related about fears, right? Like, what are your practices when fear comes up? And then just thoughts around like, how are you navigating the space of not creating a financial burden for your children in the future, like dealing with the fear of that as well?
So when fear shows up, which is quite often, so I think that was one of the superpower that I had, is because I knew fear was there, but because you're so like, I just, whether it was the youth, whether it was me in my youth, whatever, I just saw it right here, just out here. And I was just focused, like, and I'm realizing that probably like I feel safe right here. I feel like this is a safe space for me to be. But to be honest, if I was speaking somewhere else, I would probably like just have to zone out and be in the experience of because like I said, I was really very nervous and fearful about today. I was very nervous. And so when fear shows up, I have to breathe. I have to, do a lot of breathing, and I have to say, listen, it's good. You're good, Lou. You're fine. So I have to talk through my fears. And I still just do it anyway. I might be afraid of or fearful, but I just do that stuff anyway. And as far as leaving financial burdens for my children, yeah. I don't know. Do Black people think about that stuff? Do we think about, like, I mean, I know we're not a monolith, but I mean, to be honest, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't want to burden my children, but what the fudge, tickles and ice cream? Well, I mean, like, what do you mean? I mean, if you come from poverty, how the hell, what? I mean, I'm just trying to show them how to get out here and live life and live their best life. So I'm not really burdened with like the financial burden of leaving them with financial burdens. I mean, I'm not out here trying to have a whole bunch of debt, for myself, like that responsibility. But as far as like thinking about the financial burden, I'm just thinking about being okay today, to be honest. I know that was that.
That's real. Like, that's the reality. When I read the question, because I said, I'm worried about, can they eat?
Can they eat today? Can we eat today? Like, are we good?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think so earlier, I think it might have been Carrie, someone in the chat earlier was like, how do you balance, right? This unschooling and being an entrepreneur, like in balancing, I've got to work and then I'm unschooling. So what that look like for you?
Once again, just kind of setting the boundary, helping the children to know that, when I'm home, I'm still working, and then how they need you work with them, but then you just have your set times. When they were little, of what you would do. I was taking my children with me all the time when I was working and doing different things. The last job, the last account I had, one of the last accounts I had was the Y, and I was really in the height of not feeling well. And I was approached to do a job for the Y, for the youth, run a youth circle, facilitate that. And I was telling her, like, listen, I'm not really 100%. And I have to, like, so I'm not doing a lot right now. And to be honest, I'm homeschooling my children. So she's like, you can bring your children with you. I was like, okay, all right then. So like a lot of times in different jobs, I've taken the children with me. And then just really setting some boundaries of what my time for work looks like, and then my time with the children. So that may mean if, when they were little, maybe I was doing things at night. But even with my children's resale, they were with me. They saw me in action. They was helping me. We were doing things. And even with the modeling and acting, they've been in that too. So I don't know, just knowing you have to work, but just finding ways that make sense for you and your family that support you, and really being honest with what that looks like for yourself, because only you know your dynamics, and you know what you need to do, how you need to set up your household and what makes sense for you. And I just kind of, have gone along those lines, what has made sense and what I've needed to do for the children and I. When I need to get things done, when I was Ubering, I would, get up at 5 a.m. and, be out and maybe do it from 5 to 10 or something, and then come home, be with the kiddos. But there's just so many different ways and possibilities of making things work. You just have to really sit down with yourself and then find some supports. There's so many coaches, Damari coaches. Who else is coaching? I talent coach. I help navigate in different spaces. I find this really helpful. Akila totally held my hand. I mean, to do that podcast, I totally was under her guidance with that, you know, with linking up with the Raising Free People Network. So I would say get with different people of whatever you're trying to do so that you can get the support that you need as you journey through unschooling and as you journey through entrepreneurship. Figure out kind of what you need, because like I said, when it comes for me, just really having the support in place. Like you can do it, but sometimes we just need somebody to just like, you know, hold your hand and walk with you a little bit so that it can make sense, so that you can be encouraged, so that you can do the things that you know you see yourself doing. You're like, I got this, I can do it, but I just need some help. I need a little help.
Yes. All right, we've got another question from Adam. Do you see any benefit in having your children see you both struggle with life, but also succeed in those tough times? I feel that's a great benefit to unschooling, teaching them the process of life as much as anything else.
Yeah. What was the first part of it again, Tamari?
Mm-hmm. Do you see any benefit in having your children see you both struggle with life and also succeed in those tough times?
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely see that. It was hard, you know, and at first I felt bad that they had to see me, but they saw me, but but when they see you, it gives them a chance to check in with themselves too. It's not their responsibility, but definitely having that, having conversations with my children throughout the times when I was really in sad and in low places, of like explaining and chatting through that. Yeah, so I definitely think that it builds character for them, and it helps them to support them, because I let them know like what I need to do and how I'm supporting myself so that I can, show up for myself and for them. So yeah, I think there's benefit.
Okay, if I missed your question, there's so much happening in the chat. If I missed your question,
I'm so scared to even look at it. The chat's made me.
I think I can. Yeah, so I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna send it to you, Lou, because I want you to see all the comments.
Yes, please. Yes.
Way more comments and questions, but it's good stuff, y'all. It's good. So folks are dropping resources. Folks are like, yes, and.
Oh, good. Very good. Is anything else showing up for anybody? Does anybody want to share anything or?
Hi, I had a question. I can't find it now because it's like so far back.
Okay.
Do you want me to type it or can I just go ahead?
Yes, please say it, share.
Yeah, and it is also a resource. So a couple of years ago, I started a group on Facebook for self-directed education. And it was really just like exactly what you're saying. I was just looking for people to talk to about this. And so it's actually doing really well. And so we're just like talking about it and sharing some, good vibes. I shared this event. But I guess now I kind of feel like I am ready for the next step. Just personally, I just totally have the entrepreneur spirit. But my business closed with COVID and I haven't really figured it out since. So thank God, we are tapping into like all those resources you said. And we're actually doing okay. I think I'm trying to work through the emotional aspect of people being like, you still don't have a job. And that's pretty emotional, but I am working through it because I know I have a lot to offer. And I like the affirmations you were saying. So now I feel like I think I know, and I also have a local community too that I've helped build. And this is just my nature. I wasn't trying to do it for a job or to make money, but now we've got a lot of awesome local friends. And I do also have some global friends with this other community. So I just wanted to see if maybe like, what is my next step? I feel like I might be able to turn that into some type of income, but I don't want to turn it into like, hey, let's get together with unschoolers. And now turn it into like some sleazy salesman and being like, oh, by the way, you should buy my whatever, my unschooling, I don't know, whatever package I can come up with. So Just any suggestions or ideas with that?
With how you would change, turn your group, your mom's group into like income?
Yeah, just an idea for someone who has already, built the community, and not that it has to turn into income, or really just any ideas with maybe even just building the community, just for the sake of building community, or maybe trying to make some connections. I guess, like, what's the next step once you actually do build a community?
So what you have to tap into, probably like something like, what are your talents, your skills? You have that group and that space, but then you can think through some things that you find value in and that you enjoy. And one of the things I always share with my children, I'm like, listen, you can go and you give your time to somebody, and that's fine. If you want to do that, you can go give your time to somebody, and then they'll give you a check every week or every other week. I was like, or you can, have your own time, and you can just do the things that you're passionate about. Figure out what things that really just bring you joy, so that it doesn't feel like work. Figure things that don't feel like work. So Andrea, think through some things that you're either, skilled and talented at, and and then the needs, what are some of the needs in the family? I mean, in the families and the people that you're working with, not working with, but you're building community with, So, and I think that people will want to, utilize your services as they, find that need, whatever that looks like. Is that helpful?
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Jump on.
I have a question. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can. And we can see you.
Awesome. Hey, Lou. Hey, Damari.
Hello.
Thank you guys
Who's that?
for setting this up and your amazing energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a question about how you share your brilliant outlook on life with your kids. Like, also, of course, you bring them with you, you're sharing just by being with them, by who you are. But as you talk about entrepreneurship, as you talk about like your perspective on life, like I'm curious what they're up to, and like what you share with them about your journey.
Oh, doesn't it sound like they might be just super brilliant? They be on something so different. It's so funny. Oh my gosh, they all have their own little journeys, but I really just try to live my life. Thank you for that, Sarah, by the way. Sorry.
Sadi.
Sadi.
Yeah.
Sadi. Okay, Sadi. Thank you for that. But yes, no, I try to just lead by example and just share in that kind of way. We have conversations about different things, but it's interesting. They're really, truly their own little people. You think that they're like you my mini me, just because she might look like me, or they may look like me. They are so not like me. They always tell me that I'm completely different than they are. So that's really interesting. So with that said, I treat them kind of like how everybody, like you all. I just try to inspire them, but I have to inspire them through action, and they see that, they're watching me. So more than anything, because they get tired of me talking. I'm always talking to them. They get tired of me, like, oh my gosh. They make faces behind my back. It's really just disrespectful and rude. Yeah, so I wish I had something better for you, Sadi, but I don't. I do not.
I think that what you share is just authenticity. The importance. What I'm hearing is the importance of authenticity in all you do. And
right.
Real with yourself, even when the fear does come up, like, oh shit, what am I doing? I don't know, but I'm still gonna do it. And I work with a lot of in our center. We have a center here in Mexico, and a lot of families, like parents are like, I want to do it, but I just don't know how. And I'm like, you're doing it. You are.
Right.
And I guess for folks that might not naturally be so like outgoing or be more fearful and have more trepidation around their fears? Like what advice or what thoughts you have on people that might have a little bit of a longer journey to be courageous, you know, like how like, is there a practice? Like, do you have a practice of courage that you could share with us, or things that help you to be courageous in this world?
I think finding, like, truly, for one, really spending a lot of time with yourself, loving on yourself, like, and not passing judgment inside of yourself. Like, you know how we're with people and everybody, we're always so quick to judge, you know? You're so quick to be like, when people do things, say things, we judge inside of our heads, but trying to come from a space where you're not judging, because then you can just show up and not worry about like, oh, I know they're talking about me. They might talk about what I got on or what I look like or what my hair doing or what this, but I'm so okay with me, and learning to be okay inside of your skin, the skin that you're in. Like, what does that look like? You have to really be comfortable with who you are. And that takes getting to know yourself. And that takes spending time with you, loving on yourself, all of your flaws and imperfections, just love on you. It doesn't matter who said, how they said it. It's like, we're adults now. We don't have to, we can unlearn the different things that hurt us. We don't have to keep carrying it. It hurt. And I think we have to mourn that. That was part of my mourning and my grieving, is because one of the things I did was revisit a lot of the pain, like just, and the grief opened that up. Once my husband passed, it's like grief just opened up every portal. And now I just, and that's why I've like been out for so long, because it seemed like I had to go through everything. I went through all of the hurts, the sadness, the disappointment. My marriage was like, it was tough. You know, we had a really rocky marriage, like, you know, a hard marriage, and there was lots of disappointment. So, and then like moving a lot, my friendships were changing, revisiting all the hurts. So my point is like going through all of the hurts or going through some things and just being okay with like, dang, I'm really hurting. That hurt, that really sucked, or I'm sad. That really, you know, checking in with where you are and how you got there, why you're there, and for me, and then being okay with that, healing myself and spending time and just saying like, that's okay. Finding safe spaces to be in, to share myself, just being amongst people who are making space and making time to hear one another and trying to better themselves. Being a part of DIT, man, listen, it's like a ointment, a salve to my soul. Like, it just helps. If you are shy, because listen, when I tell you, it's really like coming out again. I feel like this is my microphone. I'm like, you know, before it was like, now I'm like, hello. I mean, because it's taken time. It's taken time with me just loving on myself, being okay, healing on myself, and just licking all my wounds and checking in and really just being okay with me and all the ups and downs and supposed failures, the disappointments, and all of those things, and admitting that things hurt, but that's okay. And, you know, what am I doing now? How am I moving forward? So yeah, and just finding the community and finding all the safe spaces so that you can do all of those things. And then that has helped me to, you know, to share myself again, to be able to come and show up for you guys in this way. But in order for me to do that, I really, truly had to love on myself again in a really deep way and take up a lot of space. And not just like in this space right now, but just taking up space and taking up that time that I needed for myself, whatever that looked like. And for me, it looked like going on these walks. And I'll just take you guys with me for a minute on how like I process my walks. And when I go on my walks, I mean, like the first thing I do is I make it like it's an adventure. So I have this little sack. You know how, like, first of all, like being outside, you know how in recess when you're a kid, you just felt like so happy to go outside and play. So whenever I go outside or get ready to go outside, I always feel like, oh, it's recess time. I just feel like that nostalgia of that. And I just remember when I'm working at a job, I always wanted to just be outside, or if I was at school, I would just always be looking out the window. So, the idea that I can go outside and go take a walk. So when I'm out there, first thing I do is like take in that air, and it just feels so good. If the sun is out, then I'm like, that sun is on my skin. That feels so good. And it just reminds me of how free I am, how I can just take this walk right now. Then as I'm out there, I'm walking and I'm like, I just see the trees in this neighborhood right here in Norfolk, Virginia, in the Chesapeake People's Land. There's these majestic trees in this neighborhood, and there's a ton of them, and they just look so beautiful. And I'm just like walking and I'm noticing the flowers and all of this. And then, I'll decide, am I gonna talk to myself today? Are you gonna give yourself a pep talk? What you gonna do? And I might throw on the recorder and I'm like, talk to myself and tell myself some things that that I want to be aware of, or, what's going on. Or maybe I watch something or listen to a podcast, and maybe I want to reflect on some things, and I might share some of that as I'm walking. And then, or I might listen to some music, but a lot of times I might listen to a podcast or a book. But as I'm walking, I'm just, being with myself and my body, and, just connecting and just dreaming, thinking about things that I want to do. And then all of a sudden something will drop in my spirit, like a grand fucking great idea. And I'm like, holy cow crap. And I'll get my phone, I'll stop and I'm like, okay, movie idea. And I'm like, and then I'm like telling the scenario of the movie. I'm like doing all of that. I'm doing all of that, like the movie idea, the scene, or it's some other thing, something else has happened. But that's kind of what happens. Like I go on these walks and just shit be happening. Oh, and then I'll start remembering, oh, I need to do this. Oh yeah. Different things start coming to me, and I'll start writing down on my phone, or either just leaving the voice memo. Man, them walks be powerful. Ooh, that was good. I need a cigarette. Do you guys have any questions? Any ideas? Anything resonate?
I'm just jumping in with a time check. We've got 15 minutes. So if you've got your questions, get them out there.
Anything else anybody else wanted to know about just the whole idea of, or maybe since you guys aren't saying anything, it's nothing that you necessarily want to ask. So let me think if there's anything else I want to share that's showing up for me. Just give me a second.
As Lou's thinking, we had a request. Someone asked me to send the links or the chat. So I wanted to let you all know there were a lot of resources that were shared in the chat. I'm going to pull those out and make sure that we email them out. Yeah, because there was a lot of good stuff. We want to make sure that everybody gets that. So if you didn't get it, it's okay. I got you.
Woo, woo. Yeah, I just think that one of the biggest supports is making sure as you jump out into this world of entrepreneurship and unschooling, because I think they go hand in hand. And I think it's like, if you can do it, man, listen, and especially, I mean, for everybody, but especially for Black and brown people, oh my gosh, it's so liberating. It's like, just sit down, do nothing. Yes, go get, be on human service. Use those services if you have to, for a minute, for a stepping ground, if you have to. Put your pride aside, or even think outside the box. Share space with somebody. Get with some people, share some space. I don't know. I'm just like finding a way, make a way. find a way and make a way for things that I want to do or things that are showing up for me that I think are valuable or that I need to do. I'm going to find a way or make a way. And I remember one of the things that I did when I was grieving is like, I put down like all the things that were just too heavy. Like I put stuff all the way down. And that just meant like, I dropped everything. Like I wasn't passionate about modeling anymore. I was like, what am I to do? I know I was called to be, I'm a mom because I have these children. So I'm gonna keep being a mom. Can't stop being a mom. I can't drop that one. So I'm going ahead and keep that job. And then what else? And then I gotta just make sure I'm okay. So that's it. That's all I can handle. That's all. Everything else I'm putting down. This car, I think I only had maybe I had a car note. I think I might have had, y'all listen, maybe like $1,000 or $2,000 left on the car. Do you know I let them come get that car? I let them come get the car just because I just needed peace of mind. All I wanted to do was just be able to have enough to pay the bills, the household bills, and just take care of the kids and be okay to just do absolutely nothing. And that's what I did. I got rid of my car, just had that low overhead, and just made adjustments. That's what it looked like for me. I had to make some adjustments. And then I was able to take up that space that I needed. Continue take, because I was already doing that, but then I just needed to do it at a more intensified level. Just, those walks. I'd be on those walks and I'd just be going inward, lots of reflection, and just taking up that space, being with myself, trying to figure out what's going on, doing counseling. So yeah, I just dropped all the things that were just too heavy. And sometimes things are just too heavy, and sometimes you just need to rest. And sometimes you need to, for me, I found that in the resting, like a lot of magic happened. Like, a lot of magic happened, because now what has happened is this slow process. So like I said, this was like when did the pandemic, how long we been in the pandemic? Sheesh, 2 years. So 2 years. So that's 2 years ago when this pandemic hit, I was Ubering. And then when the pandemic hit, I stopped Ubering. But I had already started my podcast. So I started. And in that starting of the podcast, but by the way, before I started the podcast, y'all, there was so much anxiety. Like there was so much overwhelming fear, so much. And I'm telling you, I had to breathe through every part of that. Every part I had to breathe through, because I was really sharing and getting vulnerable. I can act all day. I can act. I could just do all kinds. Yeah, I could do that. But just showing up and really sharing myself, was really, really very challenging, because I only save that for people I know and love, and that love me. Y'all don't know me like that, so that was very scary for me. That was really, really very scary for me. And yeah. And so in doing that, and in taking all this rest, this seems like it's been 2 years this pandemic, but there's so much has been happening. And it's been happening at a pace just right for me. It's been happening at a pace that's just right for me, not too overwhelming to freak me all the way out. It's just happening gradually, but it feels like it's happening very fast. It seems like it's happening fast because time is moving so fast. But I'm saying all that to say this, is that even though it feels like you might be sitting and resting for a while, if that's what you need, everybody needs something different, but I just found it super helpful in the rest, and just quite magical in the rest. It gives everything enough time to catch up and everything to marinate in your spirit. Okay, all right, thanks, Samaria. It gives everything enough time to kind of link and connect. So like I said, that thing that's right on time, everything's so right on time, because it feels like the rest gave everything a chance to kind of connect and align. It feels that way to me, because it's like I've been able to be in community and in great spaces that have really been really special. And then it has allowed me to also create space. I've been creating spaces, for myself, so that I can be okay to continue to support the journey. And so that's one of the things that I know that's really super helpful is community. As you are getting into self-directed education, as you are getting into entrepreneurship, you need to find community because that's going to support you. That's going to be everything. And I found that to be super, super useful. And then finding things that really bring me joy. Let that be your guiding factor when you start figuring out, you know, these different things and how to make it work. And I think just giving yourself the space, as I gave myself the space, different things show up and resonate in your spirit. Really grand ideas when you give yourself the space. Because sometimes when we rush into things, you know, we feel like it has to be done like this, or it needs to be done by this time, or man, if it's not done by this, then oh gosh, I feel like such a failure. But sometimes I think just allowing things to unfold the way that they are unfolding and knowing that you are plugging away at it is really, 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 really very special. And I think really magical things can happen if you give yourself the space and really start checking in with yourself and tapping into like, what am I good at? What talent do I have? What's something somebody is always saying like, you are so good at that. You just, that is you. You know, I mean, I think when you find those things, then that will help you in figuring out kind of where and what lanes, you know, could work for you as, you know, trying to do entrepreneurship and making things happen for yourself. So, any questions? Anything resonate for anybody? Other than that, that's all I got.
So Lou, I've heard a lot of you use past tense a lot in your entrepreneur, and I know you're saying you're taking it slow now. Where are you now in your entrepreneur journey? Where do you see yourself going?
Oh, I'm still taking it super duper slow, Monica. Super duper slow. But what's unfolding is so magical. Like Lou Hollis Talent Management, LHTM. That's my company. Where I manage myself and my children. And then I help support other people and figuring out what their talent is and helping coach them through that. One of the beautiful things is the space that I created is for dreamers and junior dreamers. And it's a space for young adults, the dreamers, and then the other one is for the youth. And all of this all showed up in that magic hour. And Damari had brought dude from, what is it, Ville, some place that's gonna be giving some people some money like me. I'm about to get some of that money, some of that monies. But it's all right on motherfucking time though. On time up in this piece. So anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, Monica. Yeah, so I've created some spaces, and Lou Hollis Talent Management is helping dreamers with this emergent program and helping them discover different things that they would have never even dreamed or thought about in arts by recreating productions, set productions, and doing different things in the entertainment industry to help show young people all the different jobs from catering and what the set would look like, and they get to do these jobs. So I'm just super duper excited about all of that. Yeah, I'm really, really hyped because I love helping people figure out what the hell they want to do. It brings me such joy because I'm doing it. I've been doing it, and I love just like I love that I've got to create this life. You know, it's been really fun and very scary all in the same breath, and quite a beautiful, beautiful, messy journey.
I was going to say, I didn't have a question, but one, I want to say to you, thank you so much for just being so authentic. And I know that your authenticity resonates with, I'm sure, everyone in the group. I want to add a caveat to that. As Black women, so many times we just have to show up how everybody else expects us to show up. And when we show up in our authentic way, a lot of times we get labeled. If you're angry and frustrated, or you're expressing, your frustration, then you're the angry Black woman. If you are very demonstrative, then you're the loud Black woman. And I just want you to know that you have helped me to really look at reclaiming that. That's part of our Black joy. And I really appreciate that in spending this time with you. And then the other thing that came up for me about unschooling is that for me, I feel like it doesn't have to be limited to now my grandchildren. I can unschool my adult children as well, as far as how I show up in their lives and as I show up in, my grandkids' lives. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Alicia, you were going to say something before. What were you going to say? You remember?
Yeah, I can just echo that. I mean, I just love, I always find gems in what you share, and like I said in the chat earlier, like the thing, I never use my voice recorder on my phone because I hate my own voice. And you taught me like use it, and it's such a good tip. Like when I'm having those bouts of inspiration, it's like, I'll just record it. Thank you for everything.
You are so welcome, Alicia.
Read the chats, Lou.
Okay. Okay.
In the chats. I think I tried to put the link back to the main Zoom room, y'all, but I got way too many links flying around my face. That may or may not be it. If it's not right, go back to your email to find the link. Yeah, I think again, if you didn't actually register for this talk, you just text Bria. Please make sure that you drop your email address in the chat so that when I save it, I can send you the resources that were shared from the chat.
Oh, thanks so much, Lou. Y'all are so welcome. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for everything that you shared. It's always an amazing pleasure to share space with you. And I've got all my notes over here like, oh, yes. So thank you.